All right, PacificSource, please begin by introducing yourself and explaining your rate requests.
Hi, I'm Claire Combs. I'm an actuary and director of pricing at PacificSource, and I will be presenting our small group and individual rate increases. PacificSource Health Plans is an independent, not-for-profit health plan that's been serving the Northwest since 1933. Within Oregon, we currently insure about 25,000 individual members and 12,000 small group members. For an overview of our rate requests, on the individual side, we are requesting a 3.5 average increase, which among renewing plans will range from 0.4% to 6.2%. For small group, we're requesting a 9.4% increase, ranging from 6.4 to 14.5. The range of increase comes from some portfolio modifications. On individual, we will be adding a few new plans, two bronze plans and 3 gold, as well as discontinuing our catastrophic offering. And on the small group side, we're adding 2 silver plans. In addition, some plans will undergo small modifications, and those are primarily to keep it in compliance with IRS regulations around HSAs, the Oregon standard benefit designs, to keep plans within the metal ranges established by the AV calculator. And then finally, many plans will have the reduced $5 copay for the first 3 primary care visits under Senate Bill 1529. Neither plan includes any network changes. Navigator plans will continue to be sold statewide in both individual and small group. And then we will have a small offering of Voyager plans that are available to small groups and limited counties. That concludes our presentation on rates. Thank you.
Thank you. Division staff will now lead a discussion about the division's review of the filings and preliminary decisions.
Thank you, Ethan. My name is Drew Bucks, and I'm an actuary for the division and the primary reviewer for the PacificSource individual and small group filings.
My name is Tasha Sizemore, and I am the Life and Health Program Manager.
Yeah, TK Keene, Administrator with the division.
Kirsten Anderson, Deputy Administrator with the division.
And so for my presentation today, I'll go over the actuarial review we performed on the 2024 filings. And so I'll start with a high-level overview of the review process. Then I'll mention some of the other factors for 2024, and then I'll wrap up with the recommendation for these filings. And first, I'll go over the individual and then discuss small group after and any differences between the two. And so the individual rate request for 2024 was 3.5%. The overall market range was from 3.5 to 8.7. And so for our review process to evaluate this request, we focus on 3 categories: data and experience, assumptions, and calculations. And for each category, we're looking for appropriateness and reasonability. Starting with the data and experience, this is what the company uses to project from 2020, to project what they expect for 2024. So they use the most recently completed full year of data, and that was from calendar year 2022. And this serves as the base period. But one thing we consider is credibility and how reliable the data being used to project from 2022 to 2024 is. And for PacificSource, this was fully credible. Next is the assumptions. These are used to adjust from the base period to the projection period. And this includes trend, reinsurance, risk adjustment, morbidity, changes to demographics, and others. And so I'll talk about one of the most more important ones, and that's trend. And this is a projection of medical inflation, cost, and utilization, as well as RX. And we reviewed this for the company itself and compared it to other carriers. And so for PacificSource, the value was 6.2%, and the market average was 6.6%. And the last of the 3 parts I mentioned are the calculations. And these take the data from 2022 and assumptions to create the 2024 rates. And so after a review of these 3 categories, we found no issues. And next, I'll talk about some of the important factors that popped up for 2024. The first one is the Bridge Health Plan or Medicaid redetermination. And so while this starts in July of 2024, we concluded that the bigger impact will be felt in 2025. The next is Senate Bill 1529, where this required carriers to cover 3 PC visits at $5 copay. Another one is labor disputes that were related to post-COVID care delivery coupled with increased member utilization. Another one is GLP-1 drugs, and the last one is the COVID factor. And so the company has taken all these into consideration, and again, we found no issues with what they're presenting to us. And so after review, I'm proposing to approve as filed. And so I'll pause for any questions before I move on to small group. And so for small group, much of what I just said is the same in terms of our process, and there's a couple differences. I'll start again with the rate request for 2024, which was 9.4%, and the market range for small group was 0.8 to 12.8. The process again is the same in terms of the three categories for data, assumptions, and calculations, but the data and assumptions will be specific to small group. And I just want to mention one of the factors that are involved in this process, again, is trends. And so for PacificSource, this is 6.1%, and the overall was 6.6%. This was an increase from the prior year, and that factors into the overall rate request of 9.4%. The other important factors that I mentioned for 2024 are the same as above. And so again, after the review, which I've just gone over, we propose to approve as filed. That's my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Drew. PacificSource, do you have any additional information or comments you'd like to make at this time?
No, nothing further. Thank you.
The division will consider all information before making final decisions on these filings. We will now take any public testimony. Please unmute and introduce yourself. All right, sounds like no one has signed up to testify, so let me remind anyone listening that today, August 4th, is the last day for public comments. Comments can be submitted through our website, www.oregonhealthrates.org.